I'm counting all the killers. They sway as they swarm. A look of gluttons in their eyes. They mutter as the body loses warmth. They pick your bones like locks inside a tomb, and take great care to not take care of you.
How's it going, guys? It's been a while. Today I wanted to touch base on something that's been, playing through my head as life goes on, and making decisions is an everyday thing, or every month thing, potentially an every year thing. And I guess the topic of that discussion is everything is a risk. Whether you make a decision to do something, whether you don't do it, or whether you decide to push against that decision. So, for example, if you choose to stay in your current situation, that's making no decision. But then that is inherently taking risk. So let's say a normal situation of working your everyday job, and that is on repeat for the rest of your life. The risk is you don't get to embrace your dream, and the upside is some sort of stability, right? But there's inherent risk in not taking that. If that dream doesn't mean that much to you, then by all means, it's not going to matter very much, and you've made that decision. Your decision to chase your dream. Chasing your dream is going to end up in you taking away stability, taking away the normalcy that everybody else has, and exposes you to not making a stable income, but potentially making high upside, whether it be financial or emotional, I guess, because you'll be benefiting only yourself, and perhaps you don't make as much as the job that you were secure in, right? But you get to realize a vision that is something that's yours, right? And perhaps that is worth more than the money. For a lot of people, you don't actually need, well, these days you do need a fair bit of money to make a lot, but to a certain threshold, right? Let's imagine that threshold is met in either one of the discussions. But the risk is inherently there, because if you fail at your dream, there's no backstop. You can go back to your old job, or perhaps your old job won't be there for you. And that's the thing about leaving a job, right? Because I did that when I went into the crypto industry. I took a risk where I actually worked for free for a very, very long time. But training myself for years, taking obviously 4 years of my life in university, I feel like the engineering side of things, I was an engineer before that, was a really big learning experience, and step-by-step deciphering of a problem and being able to design something out of that problem, right, to solve it. That has a lot of benefits going into real practical situations in life, where you analyze things not just from the outside, but also back to front through the process. Also, when I worked as an engineer for like 3.5 years, you get to be exposed to a work environment, good leadership, bad leadership, and you understand people a little bit better, and that's a lot of valuable experience, right? And if I went straight into, an entrepreneurial or a riskier venture, I would not have those life experiences of, understanding how to work underneath others. And the risk there was, spending years that other entrepreneurs would have spent building their own business from the ground up. So if anything, I spent those years as insurance for, if things did go wrong, they would allow me to, well, it would allow me to have a fallback plan, right? In case something goes wrong, have a good education. On the upside there, having an education and being competent at something helps others to realize that you're a competent person. So when you obviously go into a new industry, they look at you as a character, what you've done, and they ask themselves, hey, has this person put in the time and effort? Is he willing or able to commit to one thing and think logically to solve a problem? Because that's all it is at the end of the day. Being able to solve problems, whether it be social, whether it be business-wise, whether it be, the list goes on, right? And no university degree really trains you for that. They train you in the literature. However, being in the real world, these problems in themselves have inherent risk. And when you make decisions, obviously, if someone's entrusting you with, capital and other things, then they're trusting your decision making on knowing how to take risk, right? I think being able to look at my situation and knowing that there was not only was there some sort of insurance built up, but also once that insurance was built up, I can start to take the risk, because, just going gung-ho into something isn't like the best idea as well. Because if you I know some people do this, they jump into something with no backup plan, going all in, but then you leave yourself in a situation whereby there's no real stop loss for what you're doing. So once you fail at your plan, how are you going to pick yourself back up again, right? And some people, that lights a fire that gets them to the success that they strive for. But guess what? We all hear about the successes, right? We all hear about the people who succeed. We all hear about the people who do well. But guess what? Like, a lot of the time, majority of people do not. And you don't hear about all the horror stories of people doing extremely poorly because they're not spoken about. You'll hear about that guy who, hustled at this one thing and did really well. That's not how the world works. And if you set yourself up and make the right decisions, take risks at the right times, this is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Taking risks at the right times, once you've calculated all the variables, does that decision make sense for you right now? I've spoken before about Barbell Crew. That was my dream, right? And I'm starting to live out my dream right now, right? I'm building the brand in a new and big way. But let's go back to that example. Barbell Crew was getting some attention by the community, and there was an opportunity for me to grow a little bit bigger because there were more orders coming through. Why didn't I go through with that? I had the crypto side of things on my front doorstep, and also I had my engineering as well to take care of. Running a clothing brand and scaling it is a capital intensive and a time intensive thing to do. If I don't fixate my attention on those other things, it will become incredibly difficult for me to make any difference in those other things that will probably have more upside than me going all in on a clothing brand, because I've analyzed other clothing brands and saw what they've done, and they obviously have teams behind them, and I only have myself, and at the time not enough capital to really facilitate, growing the brand, and there would be inherently so much risk involved for me to do that without anything to fall back on when I see the potential upside within the crypto industry. Fast forward to today, and I knew at the back of my mind that this is potentially something I want to revisit one day, because clothing isn't going anywhere, and if anything, I hear people say, don't go into clothing because everyone's doing it, right? I still think I can do it very well, and that's why I'm back with Rath. But fast forward to today, I meet my business partner, Michael, and he shares the same passion of, creating things and having something that other people can enjoy. And with our combined time and effort, he's the primary investor. We have everything that we need and the best chance to make this successful. So we've turned the equation from least likely to succeed to more likely to succeed, because with the full-time aspect of it, with the ability to market the brand now, because we have the capital to get influencers in, produce more products, produce more volume, I couldn't have done all those things beforehand. But I took the bet on going into an industry which I didn't know these people to begin with. And I was able to find my way back to my dream at some point. It's not something that I planned to happen, it just ended up happening, right? Because this was the goal for me all along. Make, a decent money out of crypto and work full-time on Barbell Crew. Now it's turned into Rath, because we made a collective decision to change the name because it's more palatable for a wider demographic than Barbell Crew, right? And I tend to agree with that. Despite my connection with Barbell Crew and the people who understand where I'm from and understand the brand and have a attachment to the brand, it's still me, right? It's still me, and the style and the actual DNA of the brand still exists. But you'll see more of it, and you'll see that there will be a lot of love and care put into it. I'll do, after this part of the video, I will have a fitting for the male stuff, but hopefully this story helps you guys think about your own lives, right? Because just because you see some guys on social media say, you got to bet it all or go all in on this or that, have a hard think about your own life and what makes the most sense. Because what works for another person won't work for you. What has worked for me, you may be better off just taking it all in when you're like straight out of high school, right? I wasn't quite there yet. I needed more experience. I even went to the army for a couple of years. So, but that has built me as a person, and that's part of me as a person. That gives me a story to, share about my character to other people, right? And that's valuable to me, because they're potentially experiences that other people will not have had, and that brings something to the table. Anyways, I'm gonna head off to the gym now and hit another back day, and then do a fitting for not only the male stuff, but the female clothing as well. Hopefully you guys have some girlfriends that you can share this to. But yeah, unleash Rath. All right. So we have the Mark 1 prototypes for Unleash Rath. I'm wearing the ribbed tank, straight cut sweatpants, and zipped hoodie. The actual logos and the graphics on the hoodie and the sweatpants are going to be replaced. These are just placeholder at the moment. They're just the first things that we could put on the garment before all the graphics were designed. And in terms of fitting notes, the actual length of the pants are going to be increased. I'm wearing a size smaller on the hoodie, but we're going to have more stacked sleeves on this hoodie. As you can see as well, ingrained in the fabric are lightning bolts that are down the leg and down the sleeves of the arm, which represents the Rath in the first collection. Next item, we have the compression tee that is coming in 3 different colors. There's burgundy color, a white, and a black. There's also going to be a version with a large graphic on the back, actually, with a metal version of the Rath Crew logo. And as you can see throughout this piece, you can see contour lines. And also at the back at the moment, there's a bit of loose fabric that's going to be tightened up, and the length of the garment is going to be shortened as well because it's a bit long. Guys, deadlifts over. That was huge. I think like I haven't hit a PB in 3 years. And another exciting thing is we finally have the Mark 1 prototypes for Rath Crew. And I'm going to be going through, well actually my girlfriend Sophia will be going through the female collection, the fitting and updates with our lovely model Emma, who was previously in the first Barbell Crew female collection as the model. So she'll be pulling up any second from now, and I'll go through any of those changes and hopefully you can show your girlfriends. I know like a bunch of my audience are males. And yeah, let's get straight into it. Emma's wearing the female tank. You can see Rath detailing going across the neckline and through the straps. Something that we're changing on these is we're going to be removing the adjustable straps. So there's just going to be straps without the adjusters, as well as the length of the garment and also cinching around the hip so it conforms to the body a bit better. Next up we have the halter. The first thing we're going to change here is the thickness of the lower band of the halter on the back, so there's more back exposure and spacing between the lower part of the garment and the legging. And the other thing we're changing is the neck strap that pulls the actual bra higher so the upper chest is more covered. Next up we have the sports bra. Something that we're going to be experimenting with is the underband, where at the moment you can see it's curved. We might opt out for a straight band that goes across. And another change that needs to be addressed immediately is the excess fabric that's appearing on the underside of her arm here where Sophia is pointing. And the final change that we need to make is the adjustable straps on the back. The adjusters need to be removed. Next up we have the women's tee. This is something that we're going to be changing up a lot. The seam on the shoulder, that's going to be changed from the seam is going to start from the neckline actually and going down, and that's going to be more appropriate for more body types. The seams on the back of the lats, those are going to be completely abolished, and it's going to be shortened, the torso of the garment. Next up we have Emma wearing the straight cut sweats and the zip up hoodie. I think these fit extremely well, and you can see in a close-up here the wash technique that is used ingrains the actual graphic into the sweatpants. It's not a print, it's a wash technique that actually gets the graphic onto the garment in a slightly dark color. All right, guys, that is a wrap. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and I appreciate everyone who's been with me along the way. And I get messages all the time from you guys saying you appreciate me messaging you back, and what my journey has done for you in terms of motivating you. And I know like some of the previous videos where I've spoken to the camera about my life experiences and advice that I have for like the younger viewers, and these lessons genuinely come from my personal experiences and from the heart as well. And with my powerlifting, achieving these things and being able to document them in a way where I can share with others, but also remember that I did these things, because I'm counting down the days, as you guys know, of how many more PBs I have left in the tank. And these times go by quick, and being able to put it into a time capsule and reflecting on these days that I will never have again is an amazing thing. And perhaps I can share it with my kids one day, and they can see who I was, and perhaps I can inspire them as well. So once again, keep up to date with me on socials at Booey on Instagram, and follow Rath Crew, or even better, sign up to the early access at www.rathcrew.com. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know down below what you want to see next. I did note that we've spent $80,000 so far, so I could go into detail on how that's spent and the total amount. That I think that's a journey that I'll be documenting in the Instagram Reels and perhaps on the YouTube channel as well. So yeah, cheers guys, and unleash Rath.